You know exactly what you must do, but you don't move. You sit still. You hesitate, you overthink. You hope that motivation will arrive, but it doesn't. And the day slips away. So does the week, and the opportunity you were waiting for becomes another regret you now carry quietly. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that control begins within. The man who waits for the right feeling has already surrendered his power. He has placed his destiny in the hands of emotion, and emotions are as fleeting as the wind. To act only when inspired is to live a life of inaction. To move only when it feels right is to let years slip by without legacy. Discipline is not suffering. Discipline is clarity. It is the daily decision to rise above the noise, to act before emotion gives permission, to do what must be done even when the soul whispers its resistance. Motivation is not the fuel. It is the flame that follows movement. You must move first. You must act before you believe. That is the essence of Stoic action. That is where self-respect is born. Think of the man who stares at the task he dreads. He tells himself he needs more time, more energy, more certainty, but what he truly needs is the courage to begin. One step forward, no matter how small, because clarity is found through movement, confidence is built through action, and purpose is shaped through commitment. The Stoics knew that we must not be ruled by impulses or desires, but by reason, by will, by our decision to live deliberately. When you feel overwhelmed, you do not wait for inspiration. You take the smallest action that asserts control. You organize your thoughts, you clean your space, you write a sentence, you make the call. You break inertia, and once movement begins, everything changes. Momentum becomes your ally. Fear begins to shrink. The weight of doubt becomes lighter because you're no longer carrying it in silence. You're walking through it. A Stoic does not demand perfection from the world. He only demands effort from himself. He does not wait for calm to act. He becomes the calm that precedes the action. You don't need to feel ready. You only need to be willing. Willing to take that first step, even when everything in you tries to keep you where you are. The enemy is not fear. The enemy is waiting for fear to disappear. Do not seek comfort. Seek strength, not the strength of a single burst, but the kind that is earned through consistent, quiet action. You want progress. You want change. Then stop worshiping motivation and start training discipline, because the man who acts without motivation will always outperform the man who waits for it. The Stoic path is not for those who crave ease. It is for those who seek freedom. And freedom begins when you stop letting your moods dictate your movements. Act when you're tired. Act when you're anxious. Act when you're uncertain. Because your actions define you, not your feelings. You may fail, you may stumble, but even in failure you gain clarity. You gain strength. You gain the unshakable knowledge that you are no longer a prisoner to the lie of tomorrow. There is no someday. There is only now, and now is enough to begin. Fear is not the problem. Avoidance is. And the longer you avoid, the larger fear becomes. Not because it grows, but because you shrink. Stoic philosophy reminds us that fear lives only in the mind. It whispers about what might happen but knows nothing about what will. You silence fear not by thinking through it, but by walking straight toward it. What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? What if this isn't the right time? These are not warnings. They are excuses dressed as caution. They are illusions crafted by hesitation. And even if you fail, what then? Have you not learned something? Are you not still breathing? Are you not now stronger for having dared? Every great figure from Marcus Aurelius to Epictetus stood eye to eye with fear and walked forward anyway. Because they knew the only way through, it was through it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement despite fear. It is the moment you stand up when your mind tells you to sit back down. It is not loud. It does not shout. It whispers one more step. There will never be a perfect time. Life is not waiting for you to be ready. It is passing regardless. And every day you wait, you hand your power to uncertainty. The Stoic does not hand over his power. He keeps it close. He uses it. He sharpens it with every decision to act when he would rather delay. With every moment he leans into discomfort, instead of escaping from it. The man who walks into his fear discovers it was smaller than he believed. It was made of paper. It only had power because he gave it breath. You want peace? Then face the battle. You want strength? Then go to the edge. Not because you enjoy pain, but because on the other side of pain is power. Real power. Earned through discomfort, not granted through ease. A man once dreamed of working beside greatness, but he had nothing. No resources, no qualifications, just a vision and the willingness to act. He stepped onto a freight train and arrived with empty pockets but a full heart. He declared his ambition boldly, and even when he was turned away, he stayed. He worked. He waited. Not passively, but with action. Years passed, and the opportunity arrived. And because he had remained, because he had endured, because he had acted, in the face of fear, he stepped into the role he once only imagined. This is what Stoic philosophy teaches: to live without guarantees, to choose action when others choose hesitation, to become so familiar with fear that it can no longer control you. Your fear will not vanish, but your power will rise. And once you've acted, once you've seen how capable you truly are, there's no going back. The door opens, and you walk through it, not because it's easy, but because it is yours to walk through. Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear in disguise. It is the subtle art of postponing pain. You call it planning. You call it perfectionism. But what it really is delay. And delay is the enemy of growth. You tell yourself you will begin tomorrow. But tomorrow is a myth. It is the lie we use to protect ourselves from the discomfort of beginning. The Stoics didn't speak of tomorrow. They spoke of now, of this hour, this breath. Because only now is in your control. Only now can be shaped by your will. You think you need more time, more information, more clarity. But you don't. You need one small action, one movement forward, to destroy the chain of hesitation. One imperfect action is greater than 1,000 perfect intentions, because intentions change nothing. Only action does. Try this. When the task feels heavy, tell yourself you'll only do it for 5 minutes. No pressure, no perfection, just presence. And something strange happens. You begin, and 5 minutes becomes 10. 10 becomes an hour. You've tricked your resistance by starting small but thinking big. Momentum is a quiet miracle. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It shows up after the first step. It rewards movement, not meditation. You must take control of your environment. The world is loud. It will pull you in 100 directions. If you do not guard your focus, you will lose it. Discipline is not cruelty. It is compassion. Compassion for your future self, the one who deserves the results of the work you are avoiding now. Make a schedule. Stick to it. Say no to what distracts you. Break large tasks into small steps. Make progress the only measurement that matters. The Stoic philosophy reminds us that control is our responsibility. Not luck, not mood, not circumstance. You do not wait for your emotions to change. You train them by doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. Do not aim to be motivated. Aim to be consistent. The man who succeeds is not the one who starts when excited. It is the one who continues when the excitement is gone. Track your days. Write down your goals. Hold yourself accountable. Tell someone. Let commitment anchor you when motivation fails. The difference between growth and stagnation is not talent. It is the quiet decision to begin, and to begin again every day until the task is complete. Time is your currency, and every moment you spend is a choice to build or to delay, to act or to avoid. There is no perfect time. There is only now, and now is enough. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a declaration, a quiet vow that you will not be ruled by impulse, that you will not bow to comfort or convenience. You are not your feelings. You are your actions. And discipline is the force that turns intentions into reality. The Stoic does not chase emotion. He builds structure. He creates rhythm. He honors the routine not because it is glamorous, but because it is powerful. Each time you show up, you prove to yourself that you are trustworthy. You are no longer negotiating with yourself about what matters. You have already decided, and the decision is non-negotiable. Waking up when you said you would. Doing the work you said you'd do. Keeping the promise you made in the silence of your own mind. These are not small acts, they are sacred. This is the Stoic philosophy in action. It is not about suppressing feelings. It is about mastering them, rewiring your mind to do what is right even when it is hard. Discipline sharpens your focus. It trains your body and your will to act as one. You begin to do without asking permission from your doubt. You stop waiting for the right feeling and start building the right habits. At first, discomfort feels unbearable. It claws at you. It demands escape. But if you endure it even for a little while, something begins to shift. You stop fearing hard things. You begin to crave them. Because you know they lead somewhere. They carry weight. They shape you. Discipline builds integrity. And integrity builds identity. You stop identifying as someone who merely wants change. You become the one who brings change. This is the edge most people never cross. They start with fire but lack the fuel to sustain it. Because fire fades. Only commitment endures. The world is filled with those who start strong and disappear. Because they were fueled by mood, not by mission. But you are different. You train like a warrior. Not just in body, but in mind. You lift the weight of consistency every single day. And in time you become unshakable. The strongest minds are not the ones that feel the least. They are the ones that act regardless of feeling. They do not ask if they are in the mood to work. They work until they are in the mood. This is the Stoic way. You rise above impulse, you resist the pull of ease. You learn to choose the path that shapes you, not the one that soothes you. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. And each act of discipline lays a brick. One day you will look up and realize you have built something unshakable. Pain is not your enemy. It is your mirror. It shows you what matters, it exposes your limits, and it invites you to go beyond them. You can choose to run from pain, or you can choose to face it and become forged by it. One path leaves you soft, the other makes you steel. The Stoic does not avoid pain. He studies it. He welcomes it as a necessary part of growth, not because he enjoys suffering, but because he understands its role. Pain is the cost of transformation. When life breaks you, you have two options: collapse or rebuild stronger. That choice defines your future. You think strength is built in comfort. It's not. It's built in moments of doubt when you choose to stand. In moments of fatigue when you choose to continue. In moments of heartbreak when you choose to heal without bitterness. This is where your edge lives. Not in the good days, but in the hard ones. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that adversity is not misfortune. It is training. It is life's way of preparing you for more. Think of those who became great, not despite pain, but because of it. They failed, they lost, they fell, but they stood again. And each time they stood taller. You are no different. The pain you feel today can become the fuel you need to build a stronger foundation, not by denying it, but by using it. Pain sharpens the mind. Pain awakens your senses. It reminds you that you are alive and that life is not meant to be numb. It is meant to be felt deeply, fully, with courage. You do not run. You do not complain. You stand still and you let pain teach you. And what does it teach? That you are more resilient than you thought. That you can endure what once seemed impossible. That no feeling, no failure, no setback can break you unless you allow it. The Stoic sees pain as a teacher, not a curse. He listens. He reflects. And he emerges wiser, tougher, more aware. This is not about pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about choosing what to do with it. You can drown in it, or you can rise through it. You can numb it, or you can learn from it. Let pain shape you. Let it carve out the weakness so only strength remains. Let it refine your purpose so you walk with conviction. Do not waste it. Every wound is a lesson. Every scar is proof that you faced the fire and walked through. And When the next storm comes, you will not flinch, because you know what you've been through, you know what you're capable of, and pain becomes a friend. Without direction, you drift. Without aim, you wander. You may be moving, but you're not arriving. Because effort without purpose is just exhaustion. The Stoic understands this. He does not act for the sake of motion. He acts with intent. He knows where he is going and why it matters. You must set clear goals. Not vague dreams, not soft wishes, but clear, specific, measurable aims. Because clarity gives you strength. It silences distraction. It makes your effort meaningful. Ask yourself, what do I want? Why do I want it? When must it happen? What will I do if obstacles arise? Vague goals die in delay. Precise goals turn vision into reality. You do not need perfect plans. You need real action attached to a clear outcome. Break your vision down. Small steps, daily efforts, little tasks that stack into legacy. That is the Stoic method. It is not overwhelmed by the mountain because it focuses only on the next rock. Consistency matters more than speed. One step every day builds more than one sprint every month. And when you fall behind, you don't panic. You return to the path, without shame, without drama, just discipline. Write your goals, not in your head, on paper. Let them stare back at you. Let them confront you. Let them remind you of your responsibility. The Stoic philosophy teaches that words mean nothing without action. Intentions do not make you noble. Execution does. Track your progress. Be honest. See where you failed. See where you improved. Let the truth sharpen you, not shame you. You don't need perfection. You need movement. You need to fall and get up. You need to learn and adapt, and above all, you must refuse to quit. This is what separates the average from the unshakable. Not talent, not intelligence, but the refusal to stop. If it matters, you do it. If it's difficult, you still do it. And if others mock you, you still do it. Because this goal is yours, not theirs. Do not wait for approval. Do not beg for applause. The Stoic acts not for attention, but for alignment. Not to be seen, but to become. So define your goals. Refine your actions. Track your growth. And never forget the man who acts daily even when no one watches is the man who wins. Your mind is your foundation. If it is weak, everything collapses. But if it is strong, you become unshakable no matter the storm. A weak mindset looks for comfort. It seeks shortcuts. It folds under pressure. It waits for approval and hides from adversity. A strong mindset endures. It adapts. It uses setbacks as sharpening stones. It finds purpose in discomfort, and it continues when everything says stop. The Stoic philosophy begins with the mastery of thought. What you tell yourself becomes what you believe. And what you believe becomes how you act. If you keep saying, "I can't do this," your mind will agree. If you declare, "I will overcome this," your spirit will rise to prove it true. The world does not break you. Your thoughts do. The narrative you repeat becomes the lens through which you see life. You must guard your thoughts like a soldier guards a fortress. You must feed your mind with strength, not fear, with discipline, not distraction. A Stoic does not avoid failure. He reframes it. He learns from it. He grows because of it, not despite it. Every failure reveals something. Every rejection uncovers a weakness to be trained, not judged, not shamed, just improved. Train your mind to seek the lesson, not the pity, not the blame, but the insight. This is where resilience is born, not in ease, but in the ability to reframe pain into purpose. You must choose your influences carefully. What you read, who you listen to, what you consume daily. They shape your inner world, and your inner world shapes your actions. Cut the noise, cut the poison, silence the gossip. Step away from those who drain your focus and dilute your fire. Your mind is your temple. Clean it, discipline it, strengthen it, protect it, because when your mind is strong, you fear less, you crave less, you need less, and you act more. This is the Stoic way. Not to escape emotion, but to transcend it. To let logic lead. To let virtue guide. You don't control everything, but you do control this: your thoughts, your responses, your decisions. And that is enough to build a life of power and peace. You become who you are around. It's not magic, it's momentum. The energy of others either lifts you or drains you, either strengthens your mindset or sabotages it. If you walk with those who complain, you learn to whine. If you walk with those who act, you learn to move. This is not judgment. This is nature. The Stoic philosophy teaches that we must protect our inner circle as fiercely as we protect our values, because they are connected. Your friends are your future. Audit your circle. Who sharpens you? Who weakens you? Who holds you accountable? Who lets you drift? If no one challenges your excuses, you are in the wrong room. If no one demands your greatness, you are not in a space for growth. You don't need people who always agree. You need people who reflect truth, even when it stings. Your circle should not comfort your laziness. It should confront it. It should say, "I see more in you," and not let you forget that. Excellence is contagious, so is mediocrity. Choose which virus you want to catch. Seek mentors, not idols. Mentors guide, mentors correct. Mentors show you the cost of discipline and the reward of enduring it. If you cannot find one in person, find them in books, in history, in the great minds who left behind blueprints written in silence for those willing to read deeply. Also, look around. Are your friends driven? Focused? Do they take responsibility, or do they blame? Do they act or distract? You do not need a crowd. You need a few who are aligned with your mission. When the storm comes, as it always does, those beside you will determine whether you stand or fall. The Stoic chooses his company with discipline, not emotion, not nostalgia, but truth. He does not keep relationships out of guilt, but out of shared direction. You owe no one access to your mind or your peace. That must be earned and protected. Build a circle where goals are normal, where discipline is praised, where weakness is worked on, not mocked. Let your environment pull you forward, not hold you down. And when you rise, do not forget to reach back and lift others. This is the Stoic path. Rise alone if needed, but build with others who refuse to sink. Time is not just slipping through your fingers, you are giving it away. To noise, to distraction, to people who don't value it, to habits that don't serve you, to excuses that protect your comfort and destroy your potential. The Stoic philosophy teaches that time is your most precious asset. It is not renewable, not refundable. Once it's gone forever. You cannot control how long you live, but you can control what you do with the hours you're given. Each second is a vote, a declaration, a silent whisper saying, "This matters." So what are you giving your life to? You say you want to grow, but how much time do you spend actually growing? You say you want peace, but how much of your time is spent fueling chaos? You say you value your purpose, but does your calendar reflect that? The man who guards his time guards his future. He does not rush, but he does not waste. He moves with intention, not impulse. Begin with awareness. Track your day, every minute. You'll be shocked by what you hand over to the meaningless. A scroll that lasts an hour, a conversation that drains your spirit, a task done out of guilt instead of alignment. These things are thieves. You say you don't have time, but it's not time you lack. It's clarity. It's discipline. It's boundaries. The Stoic does not drift. He steers. He wakes with a plan. He protects his focus like a warrior protects his sword. Don't wait for the perfect schedule. Create one, and honor it. Structure your days before the world does it, for you. Decide what matters most. Then build your time around it, not the other way around. Start small. Block time for deep work. Silence the noise. Turn off the endless buzzing. The world will not stop screaming, but you can stop listening. Your focus is your freedom. If you lose it, you lose everything. Treat time as sacred. Do not casually give it away. Do not let others fill it with their urgency while your priorities rot. Say no. Not out of cruelty, but clarity. If it doesn't align, it doesn't belong. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. about choosing presence over distraction. Multitasking is a myth. Busyness is not effectiveness. You are not productive because you are tired. You are effective because your effort is aligned. Block time for rest, not escape. The Stoic rests with purpose. He does not flee his duties. He recharges to return stronger. Success is not just about output. It's about recovery. It's about rhythm. Guard your mornings. They set the tone. Guard your evenings. They determine your clarity. Ask yourself often, is this how I want to spend my life? Because that is exactly what you are doing. Your life is the accumulation of your minutes. Waste them, and your life becomes noise. Use them, and your life becomes signal. This is the Stoic truth. Every action, every decision, every hour either brings you closer or takes you further. So stop saying you'll change later. The clock is not waiting. It never has. Begin. Failure is not the enemy. Avoiding it is. Running from it. Fearing it. Letting it define your worth instead of your growth. The Stoic philosophy does not ask that you avoid failure. It asks that you use it. Learn from it. Welcome it as the necessary. Forge of your resilience. You will fail. It is guaranteed. You will fall short. You will miscalculate. You will be misunderstood. But that does not make you weak. It makes you human. And what you do after failure makes you strong. Failure is not the end. It is the process. It is the sharpening. It is the stripping away of arrogance and the building of wisdom. You don't become unshakable by avoiding mistakes. You become unshakable by refusing to be broken by them. Every mistake carries a message. Not shame, but signal. Not punishment, but perspective. You didn't fail because you're unworthy. You failed because you tried. And trying is always noble. The Stoic walks forward, eyes open, knowing that each fall teaches him to rise better, stronger, wiser, more aware. You must reframe failure. It's not rejection, it's redirection. It's not the end, it's refinement. The greatest minds in history failed more often than most people ever tried. They were not lucky. They were relentless. They outlasted their doubt with action. They turned shame into strategy. Do not ask if you will fail. Ask what you will do after you do. Will you shrink? Or will you rebuild? Will you wallow? Or will you reflect? Will you repeat the mistake blindly? Or will you rise with awareness? Growth is hidden in discomfort, in the sting of falling short, in the silence of being overlooked, in the loneliness of walking your path without applause. Do not fear that silence. Do not fear being ignored. Fear only this, that you stop moving, that you stop learning, that you stop becoming. The Stoic trains himself to expect imperfection, to walk into resistance not because he enjoys pain, but because he knows what it produces. Strength, grace, perspective. Failure humbles the arrogant and awakens the sleeping. Let it awaken you. Next time you fall, don't hide it. Don't disguise it, meet it, name it, and then ask, what now? That is the question that changes everything. Failure only defines you if you stay there. But if you move forward, it becomes part of your foundation. Every scar becomes a brick. Every mistake a tool. You build yourself through falling and rising again. That is the Stoic path. Not perfection, but persistence. You will fall, you will bleed, you will doubt. But you will not stop, because you know that a life of failure and progress is stronger than a life of safety and regret. There comes a moment in every life where the excuse ends, where the waiting ends, where the conversation in your mind must be interrupted by one simple word. Now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now. The Stoic philosophy begins, where hesitation dies. It begins when you decide, not feel, not hope. Decide. You've talked enough. You've planned enough. You've waited long enough. And deep down, you know it. You know what needs to happen. You've known it for a while, but knowing changes nothing. Only doing does. Your power is in the moment you choose to act. Most people never decide. They drift, they delay, they dance around their purpose while the clock keeps ticking. But the Stoic understands that time is not waiting, opportunity is not waiting, and life certainly is not waiting. You must choose to step into your own life, fully, deliberately, with conviction. That doesn't mean without fear. That means with fear in your pocket and movement in your hands. You don't build confidence by thinking. You build it by proving. By showing yourself that you are capable of beginning before everything is perfect. Stop asking for signs. You are the sign. Stop waiting for green lights. Your action is the permission. This is the moment where you close the gap between intention and execution, between dream and discipline, between who you are and who you were meant to be. Make it count. No more false starts. No more negotiating with your laziness. No more asking your fear if today is a good day. It is. You were not created to remain still. You were created to rise, to contribute, to build, to endure, to lead. And that begins with action. Even the smallest step taken now is worth more than the greatest step imagined forever. It will never feel perfect. You will never feel fully ready. But you don't need perfect. You need momentum. When you act, you become powerful. Not because the result is immediate, but because you are no longer a spectator of your own existence. The Stoic acts not because he is free from doubt, but because he refuses to live in it. You may stumble. So what? You may be judged. Let them. You will be alive in a way most people never allow themselves to be. There is no magic formula. There is only this. Decide. Move. Refuse to turn back. You've waited long enough to begin living the life that was meant for you. Now is the only door that matters. Walk through it. Discipline got you here. Decision got you moving. But now you must make it last. This isn't about a moment. It's about a life. It's about building a structure so strong within that no failure, no praise, no hardship can shake it. The Stoic philosophy is not seasonal. It's not a phase. It's a foundation. It's a way of walking through every chapter with intention. You've chosen to rise. Now you must choose to stay there, to return to the work every single day. Not when it's exciting, not when it's easy, but always. You must become the type of person who shows up, no matter what. Tired? Show up. Doubtful? Show up. Alone? Show up. Misunderstood? Still show up, because the version of you that's waiting on the other side of all this resistance is worth it. You are not here to chase fleeting feelings. You are here to build something that lasts, and lasting things are built slowly, quietly, relentlessly. That's what the world doesn't see. The daily grind, the silent nights, the invisible choices to stay disciplined when no one is watching. But you see it, you feel it, and you know what it's making you. Not a person of noise, but of depth. Not a person of desire, but of direction. The Stoic man doesn't just act once. He acts again and again and again until the action becomes identity. He becomes unshakable not because life is easier, but because he is stronger. You are now responsible for what you know. You can no longer pretend you're powerless. You've proven you're not. So now the question is no longer, can you do it? The question is, will you continue? Will you hold the line when no one's clapping? Will you stay the path when the reward is far away? Will you keep your word to yourself? If the answer is yes, then you have already won. Not because it's finished, but because you are faithful. The Stoic path is lonely sometimes, but it is never empty. Every moment of resistance builds something within you that no one can take away. Not the world, not failure, not time. And when you look back at the road you've walked, at the days you almost quit but didn't, you will feel something rare. Honor. Quiet pride. The kind that doesn't need to be shown because it lives in your breath, in your spine, in your character. This is what it means to live by Stoic philosophy, to become the standard, to master yourself before trying to master the world. It is not loud, but it is legendary.